I never expected a routine night of hog hunting to become the most terrifying experience of my life. Even now, years later, there's one moment that still wakes me up in the middle of the night. Not the gunshot, not the police search, not even the discovery that came afterward. It was the sound of a single footstep on a wooden ladder. That sound changed everything. At the time, I was sitting alone in a hunting tower deep in the woods behind my property. The tower wasn't new. I had built it nearly 10 years earlier and spent countless nights up there watching the forest. It stood high enough above the ground to give me a clear view through the trees, and over the years it had become a second home whenever hunting season rolled around. That night was quiet. Too quiet. The woods stretched endlessly beneath a moonless sky. The darkness was so thick that without equipment, you couldn't see more than a few feet ahead. Crickets chirped somewhere in the distance, and an occasional breeze drifted through the branches overhead. I sat motionless with my rifle across my lap, scanning the forest through a night vision scope. I was specifically looking for wild hogs. They were common in the area and often wandered through the woods after dark. I'd spent hours waiting before, so I wasn't surprised when nothing happened for a long time. The forest remained still. Minutes passed, then an hour, then finally, movement. A shape appeared between the trees. Instantly, my pulse quickened. I raised the rifle and looked through the scope, expecting to see the outline of a hog moving through the brush. Instead, I froze. It wasn't an animal. It was a person, a man. He was dressed entirely in black. Black shoes, black sweatpants, black hoodie. The hood was pulled tightly over his head, concealing most of his face. For a moment, I simply watched, confused about why anyone would be walking through these woods at that hour. Then I noticed what he was dragging behind him. A large sack. The object scraped across leaves and dirt as he moved. The sight sent an immediate chill through me. My hunting trip had just become something else entirely. The man continued through the darkness, pulling the sack behind him with steady determination. At first, I tried to convince myself there had to be an innocent explanation. Maybe it contained hunting gear. Maybe it was garbage. Maybe I was overreacting. But the deeper he moved into the woods, the harder those explanations became to believe. The sack appeared heavy, unnaturally heavy. It dragged awkwardly over roots and fallen branches, leaving a visible trail through the leaves. I kept watching through the scope. Every instinct told me something wasn't right. My breathing became shallow. The forest suddenly felt different. The familiar woods I had known for years now seemed hostile and unfamiliar. Then something happened that made my stomach drop. The man slowed down. He stopped dragging the sack. For several seconds, he stood completely still. Then, very slowly, he turned his head, upward, toward my tower. I can't prove he actually saw me. But in that moment, it felt like he was staring directly into my eyes. A surge of panic shot through my body. I immediately ducked beneath the wooden wall of the tower. My heart hammered so violently I could feel it in my neck. I stayed low and held my breath. There was no reason he should have been able to see me. The forest was almost completely black. The tower blended into the trees. I hadn't made any noise, yet I couldn't shake the feeling that somehow he knew exactly where I was. I gripped my rifle tighter. People always assume that carrying a gun makes you fearless. It doesn't. The reality is very different. I had no problem using it against a dangerous animal if necessary. Using it against another human being? That thought terrified me. I remained crouched on the floor of the tower, listening, waiting, praying. Seconds stretched endlessly. I expected to hear footsteps moving away, leaves crunching deeper into the woods. Anything. Instead, there was only silence. A horrible, suffocating silence. Then came a sound that made every muscle in my body lock up. Thump. A foot struck the ladder beneath the tower. The entire structure vibrated. I stopped breathing. Another step followed. Then another. The unmistakable sound of someone climbing toward me. The ladder creaked beneath the weight. Each step sounded louder than the last. I sat frozen in the darkness, staring at the floorboards. My rifle rested in my hands, but my mind was racing. What was I supposed to do? If he reached the top, would I actually be able to pull the trigger? Would I hesitate? Would he attack first? Questions flooded through my head faster than I could answer them. The wooden tower seemed impossibly small. Every creak felt amplified. Every breath felt dangerous. Another step, then silence. Complete silence. The climbing stopped. For several agonizing seconds, nothing happened. I remained crouched and motionless. Then suddenly, a dull impact. Whoever had been on the ladder jumped back to the ground. I heard leaves scatter beneath their feet. Moments later came the scraping sound of the sack being dragged once again. Slowly, steadily, moving away. I didn't move. I couldn't. The fear had rooted me to the floor. Minutes passed. 5, then 10, maybe more. Time felt meaningless. Eventually, curiosity overcame fear. I carefully raised my head above the edge of the tower. The forest appeared empty. No movement, no figure, no sign of the man. Just darkness. The realization hit me immediately. I needed to get home, and I needed to call the police. Fast. I climbed out of the tower and descended the ladder as quickly as I could manage. Every shadow between the trees suddenly looked threatening. Every branch resembled a person standing in the dark. When my boots touched the ground, I started moving toward my house. Then I made a mistake. A very stupid mistake. I pulled out a pocket flashlight and switched it on. The beam cut through the darkness like a signal flare. At the time, I was only thinking about getting home quickly. I wasn't thinking about who else might see that light. I broke into a run. Leaves crunched beneath my boots. Branches whipped past me. For roughly 10 seconds, I thought I might actually make it out safely. Then I heard something behind me. Fast footsteps. Extremely fast. Charging through the woods. Not walking. Not jogging. Running. And gaining on me. The footsteps sounded frantic. Violent. The kind of running that comes from pure desperation. I knew instantly they were following me. My pulse exploded. I ran harder. The flashlight bounced wildly in my hand, throwing erratic shadows across the trees. The footsteps grew louder. Closer. Closer. Then instinct forced me to look over my shoulder. What I saw nearly stopped my heart. The man was right there. Not 50 feet away. Not 20. He was practically on top of me. For a split second, his dark figure filled my entire vision. The hood, the black clothing, the terrifying speed. He had somehow closed the distance almost completely. Panic took over. Everything happened at once. I spun around, raised the rifle, pulled the trigger. The blast shattered the night. The sound echoed through the woods like thunder. For a moment, everything seemed frozen. Then came a scream. A raw, agonizing scream. The man staggered backward. I had hit him in the shoulder. I didn't wait to see what happened next. Fear was stronger than curiosity. The second he stopped advancing, I turned and ran. Every survival instinct screamed at me to keep moving. I sprinted toward my house faster than I ever had before. My lungs burned. My legs felt like they might collapse. But I didn't slow down. Not once. When I finally burst through my door, I locked it immediately and grabbed my phone. My hands shook so badly I nearly dropped it. The police answered. I explained everything as quickly as possible. A suspicious man. The sack. The tower. The chase. The gunshot. Within minutes, officers were on their way. The wait felt endless. Every sound outside made me glance toward the windows. I couldn't stop wondering whether the man was still out there, whether he was injured, whether he was watching the house. Roughly 15 minutes later, police vehicles arrived. And they didn't come alone. A search team accompanied them. After giving my statement, I led the officers back into the woods. The same woods that now felt completely different than they had only an hour earlier. This wasn't a hunting trip anymore. It was a crime scene. The search began near the location where I had fired the shot. Powerful flashlights swept across the forest floor. Officers spread out between the trees. The atmosphere was tense. Nobody spoke much. They didn't need to. The evidence appeared quickly. A faint trail of blood stained the leaves. Not enough to be obvious from a distance, but enough for trained eyes to follow. The officers moved carefully along the trail while I stayed behind them. The deeper we went, the heavier the feeling became. Then someone called out. The sack. It was still there, lying among the trees. Abandoned. The officers immediately secured the area. I stood frozen as investigators examined it. At that moment, every horrible possibility I'd imagined while sitting in the tower came rushing back. The reality was even worse. What authorities eventually discovered confirmed that a murder had taken place. The man I had seen dragging the sack wasn't disposing of trash. He wasn't transporting equipment. He was attempting to hide evidence of a terrible crime. The blood trail continued beyond the sack. The search team followed it deeper into the woods. Several minutes later, they found him. The maniac had crawled beneath a large fallen log beside a tree and was hiding there, injured from the gunshot wound. His attempt to escape had failed. He was arrested on the spot. As the investigation unfolded, authorities connected him to the murder of Jin Quinn Sakanaki, a Japanese corner store owner. I never learned every detail of what happened before that night. Some parts of the case remained unknown to me. What I do know is this: if I hadn't been sitting in that tower at exactly that moment, the outcome might have been very different. Sometimes I think about how close I came to becoming another victim. I think about the ladder, about those footsteps climbing toward me in the darkness, about the fact that whoever that man was, he chose not to continue climbing. I still don't know why. Maybe he changed his mind. Maybe he heard something. Maybe he simply wasn't sure I was there. Whatever the reason, that decision may have saved my life. Years have passed since then. The woods are still there. The tower still stands. But every time the wind moves through the trees at night, I remember that sound. One footstep striking a wooden ladder. A sound so ordinary, yet so terrifying. And it's a story I'll carry with me for the rest of my life. :